What's up everyone, Sean here, and it's been a while since I've last made a video like this for the Hawke Talks, and I know I always kind of say that in the beginning because I don't really make these videos consistently nowadays, but still like to do them when I have the chance, and here we are. Just wanted to sit down and talk about this in particular, which is my thoughts about Capcom Cup after it happened, pretty much. So this is coming from just to make it clear, this is coming from I guess you can say a casual spectator who, takes Street Fighter a little more seriously than your average consumer. I played fighting games and I have my history with them, and essentially at the end of the day, I love them as one of my favorite forms of, or franchises or genres for gaming. And so Capcom Cup is one of those things I do care about to some extent. And, it's for a couple of years, it's been a tradition of ours, to come together and go watch Capcom Cup live. It kind of started back during when PlayStation Experience was first held at Anaheim. I know it was held in the past in San Francisco, and so I had a friend who always went there because he lives in the NorCal area, and he went there. And so when PlayStation Experience moved down here to Anaheim in SoCal, he wanted to come down, and by then we knew each other well enough to, come together and, check this event out. Happened so that Capcom Cup was held around that time, and which was December. I think it was started back in 2017. I want to say it could have been 16, but definitely 17 for sure. And so there was always something to do, and so we checked out PSX and as well as Capcom Cup because it was bundled in. You can check out Capcom Cup as included for PlayStation X when you bought your ticket, which was really cool. It was definitely worth the trip, and worth the time pretty much, and worth the trouble and stuff to go through to check out both Capcom Cup and PSX all in one purchase. Great. It was really good, and we both enjoyed both of the events, and so it was all good in the hood, and the experiences were pretty good overall, I must say. But this time around for Capcom Cup 2019, things were quite different. This was the first one, and the first one without PlayStation X, as in recent years, and so naturally things were going to be different. But how different are they going to be, and what kind of different is this? Man. So after all this rambling, in short, I really felt disappointed this time around. Coming from someone who has attended Capcom Cup as a viewer or spectator twice, and this is definitely the first without PlayStation X, and this time around it was held in Los Angeles, and I think it was some like Microsoft Theater or something like that. I forget the name, but it was some sort of theater, right? And so already things were quite different. To take a step even further, there was something quite drastically, I don't want to say sus, but something was happening behind the scenes with the production team. And so Capcom as a whole decided that because of some sort of logistics problem, just management conflictions, they decided that the LCQ was not to be streamed for the entirety of the LCQ or the last chance qualifiers. So for those who don't know, last chance qualifiers is an opportunity for players who aren't in the top 32 of the Capcom Pro Tour. And if you're within the top 32, you are allowed to compete for Capcom Cup. And so last chance qualifiers is essentially what it is a last chance sort of tournament for you to be able to be a part of the Capcom Cup. So they have the 30-second slot opened for those who win the LCQ in its entirety. And so, so naturally, players from different places, come together and, take this opportunity to compete. And this is open, so it's not like you don't need to be, need to have some sort of pedigree or anything like that. You can just everyone has a chance, in a way, to compete in Capcom Cup. So naturally, the storylines and stuff like that will be, very entertaining in some sense. And people will have, some sort of fire or motivation or whatever to, try to join in on Capcom Cup. And that can create some interesting storylines for those players, depending on who they are, where they come from, or what their situation is, whether they're new or, veterans or anything like that. Either way, this is something that people from the community or the fighting game community would like to see. And so, people look forward to these last chance qualifier types of tournaments before the big one. But when news about that broke, not only was disappointing, but I thought something is kind of off. There's something not right about this. Usually, they can stream it like it's no problem. But then, pretty much the second nail in the coffin was the losers bracket was not to be streamed during the actual Capcom Cup after LCQ was well done. That was the second flag. It's like, whoa, what the heck is going on here? Now, of course, I don't have the answer as to why this all happened, but I think pretty much it boils down to like what they said, logistics and just mismanagement with the production crew and just I guess butting heads between the Capcom and the broadcasting crew and so many other factors sort of came into play. Maybe their equipment was faulty, or they weren't provided the right equipment, or the venue wasn't kind of built for it, or something like that. The things that just didn't really line up for anyone really. And so when these things weren't streamed, those were pretty much the red flags for us to really not attend this overall. I think it really hurt myself and my friends' motivation to attend to Capcom Cup. And also, next thing, pretty much the biggest factor is, the price and the value behind that price. So if you wanted to attend to this Capcom Cup, you would have to pay $70, right? For 2 days, and that's not including the online fee or anything like that. If you wanted to buy it online before all this, you would have to pay $90 altogether. So you have that $20 online fee slapped in there, plus the $70 initial price, and so you have to pay $90 just to go see Capcom Cup. The next question was, what is there to do? Why is it $90? What do I get from this, from this ticket or from this experience? Nothing really was presented to us. Nothing was really shared. No information was dropped about what we're gonna do or what we can do at Capcom Cup. or at the venue, anything of the sort. There was nothing happening around that time, or nothing was shown before Capcom Cup was happening. So if we had a friend who actually competed during the LCQ, which we of course didn't see because it wasn't broadcasted on Twitch or whatever. So we had a friend there, and he was there, of course, for day one of Capcom Cup, and we asked him, "What is there to do? What was there anything that spectators can do, or the casual, attendees were able to do?" And he pretty much kind of just said, "Well, there was the bar, and you can watch and make bets on the matches." What? Like, seriously, like you're coming here paying $70 or $90 if you paid it online. And yeah, so you can buy the ticket at the door. That it really like demotivated, even further, and that pretty much was, I guess, the final nail in the coffin per se. And pretty much we just didn't want to go. And there's just other things that kind of factored into our final decision to as our attendance for Capcom Cup. There was none, because they didn't stream the losers bracket, they didn't stream the LCQ, and there's just like other things that just really didn't sit right with us, or even the people who were there, people who are and the computers and stuff like that, the people who are involved with the production. It was just things were just going wrong so much for Capcom Cup. I don't want to say it's like the Fire Festival, but I kind of felt that way. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know about the food or anything like that. And, Capcom Cup, it did its job. You know what I mean? It at least showed a good number of the matches for Top 16 that was on Sunday. And we almost didn't see the losers bracket in that one, but I think we just missed 4 matches for the losers side of things. And then we were able to see the rest of it, thank goodness. But before I get to that, there was just some. Oh no! Actually, that was actually on that same day. Sorry. So I guess during Top 16. So the stream was going and things were, I guess, okay, except that the names were wrong. The flags were wrong as well. They didn't match with like the person's like origin and stuff like that, where they're coming from. I think that also happened even more on day 1, but maybe day 2 or Top 16 was fixed by then. But I think I caught some of that on day 2, but I could be wrong. I could get that. I might be getting that mixed with day 1, because I heard that was like really bad, and I definitely caught some of that, I think. But anyway, it's just also, there was the Street Fighter League competition that went on between Team USA and Team Japan. Wasn't as big of a turnout, I guess, or it wasn't like, it didn't really had that wow factor backing up the energy, I guess, that Street Fighter League wanted to give off. I think a big factor was just the scheduling. Things just didn't, where it went on too long, and so like the big final match or whatever, like I think it happened around like 11 or something like that, or it was like late at night here on the Pacific side of things, and it was just pretty late. So the energy was just like wasn't quite there because of the late night nature of things. And also, one of the players, Mago, he was part of the top he was the top 8, and I felt like he could have gone a little farther if it wasn't for the scheduling that had taken place with Street Fighter League. I don't know. I could be wrong, but he might have been able to get some more sleep. So that could have been a factor of things. And yeah, but back on the top 16. First off, we have a top 16, which is weird on Sunday, which is because traditionally we have, I think we have the top 8s on Sundays when it came to Capcom Cup in the past, during the time when PSX was still around. So things were quite not normal, let's just say. And again, the losers bracket almost wasn't streamed and all that stuff. But then, well, I'll save that for later. Anyway, there was this halftime show. I think during, or it was like right before top 8 or whatever. I can't really remember all that well, but I think it was right when the halfway point was done with top 16. So right after that would be the top 8 naturally. Anyway, there was this weird Pocky sort of segment for Street Fighters, which is the Pocky edition of things, and man, because Pocky, it was the big sponsor for Capcom Pro Tour and Capcom Cup, naturally. So they had to do something, I guess, for the sake of, well, their contract or whatever, or whatever it is, their deal. So I guess the devs actually had to take their time to develop something for Pocky, and so they made a Pocky edition of the game, and so which involved with when you get down to a certain amount of health, you get the Pocky KO or whatever, or the Pocky point, whatever it's called. And so when you reach that amount of health, because it's supposed to reference the pretzel part of the stick, and for Pocky. And for those who don't know what Pocky is, it's just like a pretzel stick covered in chocolate. Very popular snack in Japan, and it's a favorite over here amongst the gamers anyway. Especially for those who like Japanese culture. So anyway, so that certain amount of health is supposed to be the pretzel part of things, and they get the Pocky. They have the opportunity to get the Pocky KO, and when you kill someone with the Pocky KO, you get the points. So, but first things first, you have to get down to that amount, a certain amount of health. So you really don't want to get them hit to the point of the Pocky point or whatever, or the Pocky KO zone, let's just say. And so there's a lot of just like standing there and just, I don't know, trying to just like chip them down or whatever. I mean, I guess it was a little tricky because you want to kill them, but also you want to be low enough to be within the Pocky zone. So it was just weird, kind of back and forth. It just really didn't sit well. You know what I mean? And I definitely didn't like it. Kenny Omega made it, entertaining. He made the best of things for what was given. There were some good moments with Rob TV and Gustavo and the players, and James Chen, and I think Tasty Steve was there, and the people there, they did the best they could, but the whole Pocky edition thing was just like, really, like, they could have put that time into, I don't know, make the game a little better, or the netcode could be improved. But no, they had to actually take some time to make this happen, and it just didn't turn out well. I mean, at least I didn't find it entertaining at all for the Pocky edition itself. Again, the people were fine. The presenters and the players themselves were fine. They themselves were entertaining, but just this whole Pocky thing just didn't sit right with me. Kind of cringy, and just didn't work altogether. I don't know. I'm sure the audience was just like, meh about it. So that was just a kind of a big waste of time, in my opinion. And I don't know. It's like, would you rather see that, or just a monotonous screen of, like, I don't know, past footage of Street Fighter 4, or like sponsors and commercials or whatever, or you get to see that. So I don't know, pick your poison, I guess. But either way, that halftime show just didn't really work. But gladly, we get to see top 8. There were some good matches. But then, and of course, first, Item won with Laura and Poison, which was really cool. Big congrats to him. But there was something going on with the equipment again. And I don't know if it was like the splitter or anything like that, but first and foremost, apparently, allegedly, there's some lag from one of the monitors. And so, pretty much, if you're like player 2 or something like that, let's just say hypothetically, one player has the disadvantage while the other player didn't. What happened was there was more lag on one monitor than the other, apparently. So I don't know if this is true, but this is a lot of the players were saying so, and there was like a complaint about that, I think. And so even I think Punk was saying something about that, because this was there was that grand finals between Punk and Idom. I don't know, man. It's just like it's terrible. I mean, if this is true, then it's terrible. I think it was confirmed. I don't know, because there's a number of people who complained about that. I think this was happening throughout the tournament, and geez, like even one of the big players, Angry Bird from somewhat from the Middle East. Forgive me for not knowing the exact origin of his, but anyway, Angry Bird went out and openly said that Capcom Cup was one of the worst tournaments ever, I think, or something like that. It's just like really sad to hear, considering that Capcom Cup is supposed to be the final tournament of the year for Street Fighter or any Capcom fighting game at the time, and this is something we all look forward to. All the players with their marbles in there. Everyone's marbles are all in there, right? And we spectators look forward to that. But man, dude, just the way this one turned out was just so bad, and it's just really disappointing, because I envisioned that entire weekend of myself and my friend, spectating the players and stuff like that. We getting real excited for the good matches and stuff. But just all the negativity, all the negative things, the cons, it really, really, really just made me disappointed about that. Like, yeah, instead we just watched it from Twitch, and I don't know, there was something going on with the stream. I don't know if this was on Capcom's end. We don't know if this was on Twitch's end. I don't know. Maybe I think my internet was dropping too around that time, so that was like, it really didn't help with the experience at all. But anywho, there was also some lag with the overview of the UI or whatever. So the points didn't like update right away, or the names didn't update right away, or something like that. Man, more and more things just didn't line up, and it's just, man, it's like, it's really shitty when you spend $70, but it's really shitty if you come from another country, you come all this way to either play or spectate or whatever, only to have this tournament kind of turn out like this. A tournament of this pedigree kind of turned out to be really, really crappy and stuff. So it's just really demoralizing. And there was word from James Chen and Ultra David from their weekly podcast, the Tuesday show or whatever, and so they said that a number of players just showed demotivation. They just like lost it. They lost their mojo because of a lot of the experiences from the tournament itself, being there and all that stuff, and the fact that half of the tournament, if not even more, if you count LCQ, wasn't broadcasted. It's like, you build up all this like mojo or this fire, and especially if if you come from all these past tournaments and stuff like that, you want to show off on the last stretch of the road and whatever, or the stretch of the race, and only to know that, hey, you're not being broadcasted because whatever. Like, man, it's like, it's just really bad because it's just, you don't get to see half the tournament. You don't get to see the other good tournament. It's just, it all kind of just lines up to be really, really disappointing turnout. And not to mention the fact that there was nothing else to do for these spectators. It's just, it's like, why? It's who thought this was this was a good idea. At least have the option of and I'm talking about for these spectators anyway, have the option of, hey, you want to go day one? That's, or only for one day? All right, $35 or whatever, $40. I would have been okay with that. But no, like, you're forced to pay $70 to for day one and day two, and just on top of the fact that there's just nothing to do. It's like, why? What if people only want to see top 16 or top 8 or whatever? Why do we have to pay $70 for that? Like, I don't know, if there was like some discounts or whatever, or like some cool stuff that you can get for free, that would have been awesome. But it's just nothing. There's just nothing really to do other than try to make bets and get the money back or whatever. But that's just gambling at that. So at that point, it's just like, no, this is not how Capcom Cup should be. But of course, people like Yoshinori Ono has put up an apology and a statement regarding to the situation for Capcom Cup, and so Ono has to be the front man of all this. It's just, man, it's just, golly, this is awful, and I'm just absolutely disappointed. And there is another thing I do want to mention, and that's the distribution of the prize money. While, I mean, this is a little more complicated, I guess, but from what I've seen, kind of like what Kenny Omega mentioned, yeah, everyone gets to take home something. But if you look at the numbers here, especially if you look at from 17th place to 32nd, they get what, $250, which is like, yeah, it is something, but what's that gonna do? Like, pay what, the phone bill for that 1 month or something? I don't know, like $250. Like, couldn't you at least cover their flight or something? Like, give all those people like what, $1,000 or something? Like, I don't know. Like, it's just like, it's such a pathetic amount of like money in comparison to, of course, first place being $250,000, which is $250,000, right? And then the next person gets 50K, and then so on and so forth. You know what I mean? Like, couldn't you just like bring it down to like $200,000 or even like, I don't know, $225,000, and then like distribute the rest to the peeps or the players, excuse me, and be able to cover their flight coming here? It's like, what? Like, geez Louise, man. The prize money is a whole nother story, and that needs to get worked on, and like that is just also like just another factor as to why this tournament sucked, like, as a whole, especially with so much on the line. This being the last one, of the Capcom Pro Tour. The rest of them have been pretty good, like, overall, right? There might have been some couple of bad ones, but overall, as for the major ones anyway, were pretty good. Um, it's safe to say, but man, Capcom Cup, man. It is definitely safe to say that it is the one of the worst tournaments held this year, and it's sadly the last one. Um, but at least hey, it did its job. The tournament still ran, and we have a winner. We have a clear winner and all that stuff. Although there is the whole controversy with the lag, with the equipment, and stuff like that. Which is why there was the suggestion from James Chen saying that we should just go back to the single monitor setup, which has the players side by side and playing on one screen. So that way it can for first off use fewer less parts in its operation, and therefore less chances of any problems or whatever that may occur. And well, if the monitor is lagging, let's just say, well, both players are affected by this problem, so therefore it still evens out the playing field. So, and also it's just a less equipment overall. It's just easier to set up, and it's the old school way. So it's like, why not, and I guess I can agree to that, from the point of view. This is coming from someone who has majored in technology or industrial technology, and attempted to study in engineering, and so I have the mentality of, if you have fewer parts, you have less chances of any problems or possibility or probability of things breaking down. So naturally, having a single monitor setup would definitely eliminate a number of problems, right? Keeping it few as possible, and also, hey, we can go back to the old school way, right? And the grassroots sort of way for the FGC. So I don't see why not, but obviously the more modern sort of gamers would like to see the two monitor setup, and it kind of helps with the spacing and stuff like that. Someone probably, I don't know, could kind of move around on purpose just so they can distract the other player as a tactic, or purposely not take a shower or something, and so their smell will distract the other player and stuff like that. But I think one thing, or one way to eliminate those kind of sort of possibilities is to just have a huge monitor, have a big screen that has minimal input lag or fast response time, that sort of thing. But even so, again, like both of those players are gonna experience the same TV sort of problems with the lag and whatever. So again, it's gonna plan out even out the playing field again. So, so anyways, I think that overall, my thoughts on it again is just that, man, Capcom Cup is just this time around been really disappointing from what I've heard. So much that myself and my friend didn't bother going. We just watched the live stream instead, and we got the gist of things for Capcom Cup, and there were some good moments. And people like James Chen did a good job, trying to entertain the audience. And I thought it was funny that there was a picture of him like sweeping up the stage, and it was like, oh my god, they're making him sweep up the stage. What's wrong with the production crew or something like that? But it was such a joke, it was also just to entertain the audience and stuff like that. So obviously the context was misread and blah blah blah, whatever. But at least the presentation was pretty good. Kenny Omega made things really entertaining. Ono was also entertaining. And there was the reveal with Seth, and that was that that was definitely good. There was no leak or anything like that, and things were good for the most part on those things. So that's good. And also now Capcom Cup. There was also some news on Capcom Cup for or Capcom Pro Tour as a whole for next year, and things are gonna be different. Can't go into things of how different they are, but it's gonna be quite different. And also the Capcom Pro Tour, Capcom Cup, excuse me, is gonna be held in Paris, France, and so in a way, this is gonna be the last one for the U.S. Side of things. So, man, what a really shitty note to end on. Unfortunately, it's just so disappointing on that part, because that's how we go out. That's how Capcom Cup is gonna go out. On that note, for when it comes to the U.S. side of things. So hopefully, maybe we'll come back to the U.S. at some point for Capcom Cup. Or probably like go to Japan next or something like that, or maybe even maybe somewhere in the Middle East or something. I don't know. Could be somewhere in Europe again. I don't know. Maybe in a different country in Europe. I don't know. Who knows? There's some certain like surprises that will come our way. But we'll have to see. Now there has been, a really big hint as to when Street Fighter 6 will be revealed, and probably by the end of the next Capcom Cup that will take in Paris, France. So because of like the way it was scheduled, so the person usually who wins Capcom Cup is automatically qualified for the next Capcom Cup. But this time around, not only this Capcom Pro Tour as a whole is different, but Capcom Cup is not going to have anyone qualified automatically, including the winner, of course. So that means we could have that possibility of Street Fighter 6 being revealed. All right, so let me correct myself. I'm reading this from the tweet over here. It says that the reigning Capcom Cup 2019 champion will once again have a auto qualifying spot. So yes, they're automatically in Capcom Cup for 2020. But the winner of Capcom Cup 2020, so the winner of next time, won't be able to get auto qualified to 21. So that pretty much means in 21, the year 2021, that's when Street Fighter 6 is going to be revealed somewhere in there. I hope it will be soon during 21, but that's still quite a ways away, and so we still have to wait. I mean, Champion Edition is well on its way. I mean, the new version is already out, or Season 5 is already out. And people have been, giving some praises already. There's some cool stuff in there. For what I've seen, me and my friends have already messed with Street Fighter 5 again because of Season 5, and seems like we're all having fun so far. But we'll have to see how this all kind of ages later on in the year, and we'll see. Unfortunately, we're not going to see any changes until we're not going to see any changes after the game is released, I think, with Capcom Champion Edition, excuse me. And then we're not going to see any changes until possibly after the Olympic event, which is that big tournament during the Olympic event of next year, or eventually, or let's just say 2020. And so as what we see for Champion Edition in February, that's gonna be the game for a long while. So we're gonna see any new characters, something like that. No weird patches or whatever, or maybe we'll get some hot fixes. But I hope we do. But anyway, that's that's the game for a long while. So yeah. But anyway, this is going this is on going a little too long. Sorry about that, but I just wanted to give my thoughts about Capcom Cup from a from the point of view of a little more on the casual side, and a spectator. So, well, a non-spectator because I mean, well, I guess you can say I'm a spectator because I watched it on the live stream this time around. So, yeah, that's just how it be. It sucks that we had to end on that note when it comes to the American side of things. But hey, maybe going to Paris, France will probably be a good refresh on things, and hopefully the production crew and Capcom and all that stuff will make sure that these things won't happen again. So hopefully we'll see LCQ streamed and all that nonsense not happening again. So, but anyways, that's all I got for my thoughts on Capcom Cup 2019. If anyone wanted to comment about Capcom Cup, or what are your thoughts on Street Fighter as of now, what do you look forward to, or what you think is going to happen with the competitive stuff or the meta or whatever, and what do you guys think about the new Capcom Pro Tour that's going to come up, with the new rules and all that stuff. At least so far anyway. I'm pretty, maybe they'll make things a little more clear later on, before March or whatever, with more information. But what do you think of it so far from what's being presented? All that in the comment section below. Really appreciate that. And also don't forget to like and subscribe. Really helps out the channel, and I really do appreciate it, guys. And so yeah, that's pretty much it on the Hawke Talks for my thoughts on Capcom Cup 2019. So thank you guys so much. Hopefully I see you guys soon. I'll maybe have a couple more videos and stuff like that. You'll probably hear this thought again on the podcast, but we'll see. But anyways, I'll see you guys in the next video. Sean out.